NCIS is CBS's longest-running show, and it doesn't seem like it's stopping anytime soon. Recently, one of the cast members, Sean Murray, just posted important news which made fans happy and sad at the same time. In this video, we're going to go over what Murray said in his post and why it's causing chaos amongst fans. First, let's talk about Sean Murray's big news. CBS announced on March 31st that the entire NCIS franchise, including NCIS Hawaii and NCIS Los Angeles, are being renewed for another season. This means that NCIS will be returning for its 20th season, most likely this fall. Right after this news came out, actor Sean Murray posted about this, as well as, and captioned his post saying, "Here we go again, baby, hashtag NCIS, hashtag season 20. The post was a picture of all of the cast of NCIS, forming a 20 for season 20. There was also a Washington monument in the background, basically confirming the show's location. Some of the bizarre members included in the picture were Wilmer Valderrama, Brian Deitzen, Sean Murray, Rocky Carroll, and more. After Murray posted this, NCIS fans started celebrating the show's renewal in the comments. Even though there were many fans that were excited to hear that the show would be continuing for its 19th year in a row, some were disappointed. In the picture Murray shared, Mark Harmon was not included. Mark Harmon plays Gibbs, the main character, also basically the only character that stuck around since the very first season. That's why it was so upsetting for some fans when they saw the absence of their favorite character, with some saying they wouldn't even watch the 20th season without him. Why did Mark Harmon leave NCIS? After over 20 years of appearing on the show, Harmon was ready to go during the 18th season, but CBS ended up negotiating with him and he signed for a limited number of episodes for season 19. The showrunner of NCIS, Steve Binder, also seemed pretty upset about Mark Harmon leaving the show and said, "As an executive producer and dear friend, Mark continues to be an integral part of the fabric of this show." Fans were understandably very sad about this, and many said that the show would never feel the same without the actor. A lot of fans even question if the show was really NCIS when there's only one original character left. They even said that the show should have just gotten canceled and the show is overstaying its welcome. NCIS fans aren't new to their favorite actors leaving the show. Instead, they're probably used to it by now. But throughout everything, Mark Harmon stayed. Even when everyone around him left the show, he stuck around. That's why his leaving hurt fans even more. No one actually knows the exact reason for Mark Harmon's exit, but many just think it's because of how long he's been acting on the show. After this long, he was bound to get bored at some point. On top of that, he's 70 years old now, so he might just want to retire. What happened to Gibbs' storyline? The last case Gibbs was on was very long. The team found a bunch of murders that they initially assumed were done by a serial killer, but later it was discovered that the murders were actually done by a hitman. When Gibbs found out about this, he took the hitman with him to a discreet place where he could find out more information. The hitman accidentally blew his entire cover in seconds, revealing that he was the one that destroyed Gibbs' boat and even told him who hired him. After this, Gibbs went all the way back to Naktok in Alaska to investigate properly. He was led to Sonova Industries, where he found out they were doing a copper mining project which would have destroyed the entire area. Turns out the CEO of Sonova Industries was the one who hired the hitman because she didn't want anyone revealing the environmental damage she would cause with the mine. When Gibb and the NCIS team found out about this, they found evidence against her that would prove everything she did. Why did Gibbs decide to leave NCIS? We've already gone over why Mark Harmon decided to leave NCIS, but what made his character Gibbs want to leave? Well, during the last episode, there were barely any parts where Gibbs was together with the team, which was hinting at the fact that Gibbs would be leaving. He even threw the phone that he'd been carrying around for ages inside a coffee mug before he left. But Gibbs didn't actually want to leave NCIS, he left because he had to. When he went to Alaska and talked to the hitman, he had actually broken the law because he ditched the FBI, but he still wanted to serve his time, so he told Parker where he would be going so he could easily find him and arrest him. However, since Parker knew that Gibbs only did everything for a good cause, he didn't actually end up going after it. This caused Parker his own job. Gibbs, on the other hand, decided to stay in Alaska because it was the first time he felt peace after his daughter and wife died. So, will anyone replace Gibbs? Now that Gibbs is out of the picture, everyone's been wondering if he's going to get replaced by another character anytime soon. Since he was the main character, there is bound to be one person person to replace him, and fans have speculated this person could be FBI agent Alden Parker. He was actually offered the job as the leader of NCIS after Gibbs left, but he ended up turning it down, saying, "I'm not Gibbs." Many fans surprisingly like Gary Cole and want him to take over Gibbs' job. One fan said that even though they were sad about Mark Harmon leaving, they're still pretty excited to see how Gary Cole does. Even though he didn't join the team, he still helped them out with their newest investigation, which makes fans think he'll be back pretty soon as the main character or a more important character, at least in the next season. Other than Alden Parker, there isn't really anyone that seems like they could take up Gibbs' position, but maybe the writers will introduce a new character later on who could possibly replace Gibbs. Will he ever return? From the moment it was announced that Mark Harmon would be leaving NCIS, the first question fans ever had was if he would be returning to the show ever again. While we don't have the answer to that question, we can always speculate what could happen. Gibbs didn't actually die like some other characters did, so their actors could leave the show. Instead, he just decided to live in Alaska instead. Since he isn't dead, there's always a chance that he could return at some point. If Mark Harmon ever feels like coming back, it's highly doubtful that any of the showrunners would have a problem with it either, since he's basically made the show. On top of that, Steve Binder even said, "So regarding the future of Gibbs, as longtime fans of the show may have noticed over the years, never count Leroy Jethro Gibbs out." Considering the showrunner himself has told fans to never assume Gibbs is gone, he could still come back. Next, what will be the future of NCIS without Mark Harmon? After the news of Mark Harmon's departure was announced, many fans declared that they wouldn't be watching the next season anymore without him. Because of this, some people have been concerned about the future of NCIS without Mark Harmon as Gibbs. It seems like no one's excited for season 20 anymore. But there have been many shows in the past that managed to survive even once they lost their main character. So why would NCIS be any different? Plus, people seem to really like Agent Parker, so if he does end up as the main character, he might be able to fill in the hole Mark Harmon left behind. But since this whole thing was so unexpected, fans are still heartbroken. So no one really knows for sure if NCIS can actually survive without Gibbs before the season comes out. So we're just gonna have to wait and see for now. What is Mark Harmon doing now? Everyone's been wondering what Mark Harmon is doing now that he's no longer on NCIS. With more free time, everyone's hoping he'll show up on another TV show. However, that's not the case at the moment. It seems like Harmon wants to take some time off before he starts acting again. He's still an executive producer on NCIS though, so he could actually come back if he wanted to, and he still has a lot of say on what will happen in the next season. If the show's rating is lower, then Harmon's likely to come back for the next season as a surprise, since they've actually done this before in earlier seasons. Or, even if he doesn't come back as the main character, he could still come by every now and then to help out as a side character. But for now, it doesn't seem like he'll be back for a while, so we'll have to stay tuned. That's a wrap for today's video. How are you feeling about season 20 now that Mark Harmon is gone? Make sure to let us know in the comments down below. As always, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button for more videos like this one. We'll see you next time.